Okay, so like always, at the beginning of my stream, I will just make sure that I am actually streaming. I have had one too many streams, which means more than one. Looks like I am streaming. Looks like audio is doing fine. And it looks like I'm at the wrong chapter, which is really weird. Um, so let me try and figure out what I gotta do here. Okay, there we go. See, and this is why I also have everything open, because it seems like I was just getting old data from the stream. So there we go. Perfect. I would have been really frustrated if I just started streaming and thought it was working and assumed, and then always verify. Yeah. So hello everybody, Chloe here, and welcome to Smoothie with Chloe in the morning. It actually is morning. I'm so proud of myself. It is 11:14 in the morning. I try and do this at 10 a.m. in the morning, every day, Monday to Friday. That's my new schedule. On Tuesdays, I try and do it in Near Hub at the Marmaj Beach, so marmaj.org /beach. And then I guess, who am I? I am the co-founder of the Marmaj Foundation. I am the, I guess, lead of the Marmaj Research DAO. I guess that's what I'm doing here. I have I'm part of the Ethereum Protocol Fellowship. For the next 4 months, have been blessed, I guess, to be funded, to be able to, I guess, choose what I want to research, which also is a blessing. I assumed, or I don't know, maybe naively assumed I would be able to just work with a team in some way, and I know they kind of have teams. I know orientation hasn't started yet. But they also kind of did say that I get to choose what I want to do in a lot of ways. And so over the next 4 months, I'm going to be working with Thor, who's actually starting a project. But through that, there's actually two textbooks that that Thor's going to be working through, that I'm going to be working through as well. One of them so far is practical cryptography engineering. Seems to be pretty good so far. I'm going to dive into it. I'm not going to do such a long intro each time. But I just kind of wanted to overview what I'm doing. This is who this is for. This is mainly for myself. So who am I? I have a research fellowship. And so I have funding to kind of learn and provide kind of research in an area. My area of interest is validator privacy. And I want to actually be able to build solutions for validator privacy, or maybe not me myself, of course, but work with a team that's trying to build solutions for validator privacy. I think in the future, whatever future we get to, where a majority of the world is relying on blockchains to, let's call it secure, right, in a simple term, data that we rely on. I think that these computers that validate this data will be very important and have a lot of value. Knowing where they are will have a lot of value. Knowing who runs them, how anyways, there's lots of reasons why that could be not beneficial, and so yeah, this is kind of the area of my research in general. Also, habitually my research areas have been decision neuroscience, like why people make decisions, or how groups or communities come to consensus. Um, but I think honestly, the two topics are quite similar in a lot of ways. But anyways, I'm going to dig into the book. I'll be doing this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, hopefully at 10 a.m. And I'm not going to do a long intro each time. I'm just going to say who I am and get started. But I thought I should at least do an intro for one of these streams in case someone's like, what is going on? Yeah, I'm just reading. I'm just reading myself and taking notes on what I think is important. And what I think, if someone did come by and did see this note, and they didn't have time to read the whole thing, what would they hopefully be able to take out of this? I'm not putting great links or anything else. I'm just taking the notes for now, because I'm streaming. For other texts I take notes on while I'm not streaming, I'll probably just sit for longer and, learn latex, and it's a whole other topic. And the reason I like this, I know where I am. I was not there. I was here. Cryptography is not the solution. So cryptography is not the solution to your security problems. It might be part of the solution, or it might be part of the problem. In some situations, cryptography starts out by making the problem worse, and it isn't at all clear that using cryptography is an improvement. The correct use of cryptography must therefore be carefully considered. Our previous discussion of SET is an example of this. Suppose you have a secret file on your computer that you don't want others to read. You could just protect the file system from unauthorized access. Or you could encrypt the file and protect the key. The file is now encrypted, and human nature being what it is, you might not protect the file very well. You might store it on a USB stick and not worry if the USB stick is lost or stolen. But where can you store the key? A good key is too long to remember. Some programs store the key on the disk, the very place the secret file was stored in the first place. See, again, all these other issues. But an attack that could recover the secret file in the first situation can now recover the key, which in turn can be used to decrypt the file. Again, so if you were able to attack the key, you could attack the file. If the encryption system is insecure, or the amount of randomness in the key is too low, then the attacker could break the encryption system itself. Ultimately, the overall security has been reduced. Therefore, simply encrypting the file is not the entire solution. It might be part of the solution, but by itself, it can create additional issues that need to be solved. I mean, to me, that all is relatively straightforward and just kind of boils down to, and it's saying it might be. I like the second sentence here, actually. Not even saying that it is part, and not a whole, but it's saying, it might be part of. See, I don't like how it doesn't spell check me. It might be. So hopefully sometime next week I'll be switching to a new editor. I'll be doing Obsidian editor. I'll be doing some research on it over the weekend, and hopefully that'll be a bit more efficient. It's in Vim though, so it uses Vim commands. Sorry, I've never used it, so I'll learn about it this weekend. It might be part. Yeah, like that. How it's saying it might not even be a solution whatsoever, and kind of saying the same thing at the end here. I don't think anything else was that specific. So, cryptography has many uses. It is a crucial part of many good security systems. It can also make systems weaker when used in inappropriate ways. In many situations, it provides only a feeling of security, but no actual security. So to me, that's relatively important. Sometimes the feeling of security can be worse than just knowing that you don't have security. So I'll just write exactly the way they wrote it in the book, but my personal way of saying it. Cryptography. In many situations, just want to page down, whatever. It is tempting to stop there, since that is what most users want, to feel secure. I mean, very true in my opinion. Using cryptography in this manner can also make a system comply with certain standards and regulations, for example, even if the resulting system isn't actually secure. In situations like this, which are all too common, any voodoo that... I like this book so much, it's funny. Any voodoo that the customer believes in would provide the same feeling of security that would work just as well. So basically, whatever the customer believes in. So I guess that's relatively important. Like, I mean, I don't know how to note it in my own words. Like, I think it's pretty obvious though, actually. So I'm just gonna leave it out. I don't like when I take notes. I actually don't like putting my own opinion into the actual note. That's kind of why I stream it, so that I can have it somewhere. I don't go back and watch these notes though, by the way, if anyone like ever gets to these points. Or if I actually take the note for the transcript. I want to use it in the future, but yeah. Cryptography is very difficult. And like YouTube gives me like a free storage, you know, arguably, for all the data set of my audio transcripts. So that's pretty cool. Sorry. Cryptography is very difficult. Cryptography is fiendishly difficult. Even seasoned experts design systems that are broken a few years later. This is common enough that we are not surprised when it happens. The weakest link property and the adversarial setting conspire to make life for a cryptographer or any security engineer very hard. I like that, like the weakest link, because it kind of ties in concepts from the very hard. Okay, I like that one. Another significant problem, sorry, is the lack of testing. Fair, I mean, yeah. There's no known way of testing whether a system is secure, except for like actually trying to attack it, I guess. But yeah, I guess you can't test if it's actually secure until you go, oh yeah, it's not secure. In the security and cryptography research community, for example, what we try and do is publish our systems and then get other experts to look at them. Note that the second part is not automatic. There are many published systems that nobody has even glanced at after they were published. And the conference and journal review process alone isn't sufficient to preemptively identify all potential security issues within a system prior to publication. Even with many seasoned eyes looking at the system, security deficiencies may not be uncovered for years. There are some small areas of cryptography that we as a community understand rather well. This doesn't mean that they are simple. It just means that we have been working on them for a few decades now, and we think we know the critical issues. This book is mostly about those areas. I think that's pretty important in my opinion, as like people are trying to learn this stuff, understanding that like none of this is actually simple. So, and they're trying to be very clear, right? There are some small areas of cryptography. And they're saying that we as a community. I guess I should take it more as a quote again, right? But like, I'll just say generally well understood. Simple. And I'll just I don't like not being able to highlight the text. This book is mostly about those areas. What we have tried to do in this book is collect the information that we have about designing and building practical cryptographic systems and bring it all together in one place. For some reason, many people still seem to think that cryptography is easy. It is not. This book will help you understand the challenges of cryptography engineering and help propel you on the road to overcoming these challenges. But don't go out and build a new cryptographic voting machine or other critical security system right away. Instead, take what you learn here and work with others. And see, this is my goal. I definitely want to work with a team. I have no plan or goal or like, I have no envisionment of working by myself to do any of this. Especially seasoned cryptography experts, please, that would be the goal. To design and analyze your new system. Even we, despite our years of experience in cryptography and security, ask other cryptography and security experts to review the systems we design. Honestly, I think that's like the only thing that was relatively important in that topic. Yeah, I'm gonna capitalize the, or else I'll get stressed out. See, yeah, my note taking is in no way trying to satisfy other people. I hope that these notes do help other people, though. Like, I hope that people are able to learn from this, but I'm enjoying myself. Even though the cryptography itself is difficult, it is still one of the easy parts of a security system. Like a lock, a cryptographic component has fairly well-defined boundaries and requirements. I like that. I like the lock. Gosh, help me. It probably isn't. Nothing's okay. My spelling's atrocious. Don't judge me. Meant as fairly An entire security system is much more difficult to clearly define, since it involves many more aspects. Issues like the organizational procedures used to grant access and the procedures used to check that the other procedures are being followed are much harder to deal with. As the situation is always changing. Sorry, I'm drinking my smoothie. Another huge problem in computer security is the quality of much software. Geez, yeah. I mean, in the blockchain or the blockchain space, all the hacks we see there, or I guess smart contracts space. Security software cannot be effective if the software on the machine contains numerous bugs that lead to security holes, and that could be like the EVM as well, having security. Oh my gosh, that's a whole different issue. Cryptography is the easy part because there are people who know how to do a reasonably good job. So, oh my gosh. There are experts for hire who will design a cryptographic system for you. They are not cheap, and they are often a pain to work with. They insist on changing other parts of the system to achieve the desired security properties. Still, for all practical purposes, cryptography poses problems that we know how to solve, and this book will give you a sense for how to go about solving them. The rest of the security system contains problems we don't know how to solve. Key management and key storage is crucial to any cryptographic system, but most computers have no secure place to store a key. That actually is actually one of an interesting concept there. Like just as an example. So I feel like I was taking notes more bullet point, and then now I'm taking notes more. Definitely taking more notes in more of like a paragraph type of way, but. Anyways, key management and key storage is crucial. I mean, this is a bit different now. I feel like these days most smartphones have the ability to store, cryptographic keys. But, in a lot of parts of the world, that's not the case. For computers or for some smartphones, like low-powered smartphones or whatever. But most computers... And I'll just note, Okay. Poor software quality is another problem. Network security is even harder. And when you add users to the mix, the problem becomes harder still. So you can't account for what users are going to do, and you can't account for what the hardware is going to look like or what that's going to happen there. But cryptography is just math, and so if you do get the math correct, at least that part should work. Simple enough. I'm sure I spelled half of this right. Wow. Let's see. Cryptography is easy because there are people. It's hard for me to see on the blackened screen. Okay. Key management. Yep. Yeah, I'm excited to use Obsidian because, apparently it has some a lot of wrong suggestions, but it does have a simple checker. Although I'm sure HackMD has a checker too. I just haven't had the time to look into how to get it done yet. I will look into that soon too. It is also important to realize that some security problems can't be solved. I'm just going to take, Yeah, I need to stop doing the whole paragraph thing. I don't like doing it, and yeah, it doesn't. No one needs to read paragraphs. There are black box or generic attacks against certain types of systems. A classic example of this is the analog hole for digital rights management systems, DRM systems. DRM systems try and control the copying of digital materials such as picture, song, movie, or books. Like, if you go try and a book you buy online from Amazon or something like that. But no technology, cryptography or otherwise, can protect against a generic attack outside the system. For example, an attacker could take a photo of a computer screen or create a copy of a picture or use a microphone to re-record the song. It is important to identify that the generic attacks against the system. I did say I was going to start doing capitalization at the front of my bullet points, because I'm going to try and do full sentences as well. It is important to identify what the otherwise, you might spend a lot of time trying to fix an unfixable problem. Similarly, when someone claims they've secured a system against a generic attack, you know to be skeptical. I think the important part here is to be like, what are generic attacks? Because if someone is not reading this, then they don't really give they give a full-on example. Yeah, I think that's the idea, in my opinion, at least. What? Oh gosh, doesn't like that. Nope, I don't like that. Leave that for now. Okay. This is a pretty long chapter from what I remember. I know well, that's just obviously what I would put there. Security is never the only design criterion for a system. Instead, security is but one of many criteria. Same of what we said earlier above, it's only one part of a system, it isn't the only thing, but, whatever. Okay. Oh, saying I know that I capitalized the here and didn't capitalize the and here, so I actually am going to keep it consistent. Can't help it, but this is just a story about the bridge, but anyways. The bridge over the Firth of Forth in Scotland has to be seen to be believed. A 19th century engineering marvel. It is mind-numbingly large and therefore expensive compared to the trains that cross it. It is so incredibly over-engineered, it is hard to believe your eyes, yet the designers did the right thing. They were confronted with a problem they had not solved successfully before, building a large steel bridge. They did an astoundingly good job. They succeeded spectacularly. Their bridge is still in use today, over a century later. That is what good engineering looks like. So to me, that is what I'm going to take there. Good engineering. I'm just going to take that because that's simpler. Over the years, bridge designers have learned how to build such bridges much more cheaply and efficiently. But the first priority is always to get a bridge that is safe and that works. Efficiency, in the form of reducing cost, is a secondary issue. We have largely reversed these priorities in the computer industry. The primary design objective is all too often includes very strict efficiency demands. The first priority is always speed, even in areas where speed is not important. Here, speed might be the speed of the system itself, or it might be the speed in which the system can be brought to market. So, how fast can I load the web page, or how fast can I, launch my product to customers. This leads to security cost cutting. The result is generally a system that is somewhat efficient, yet is not sufficiently secure, because there's kind of the trade-off there. I think it's trying to say, largely value over security. Oh, see, this is where I'm going to have to learn how to put. Am I really going to have to learn that right now? I think so. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully not. See. I said I would do full sentences, so the result is generally somewhat efficient, yet is not sufficiently secure. Okay. There was another side of the fourth bridge story. In 1878, Thomas Bauch completed the then longest bridge in the world across the Firth of Tay in Dundee. Bauch used a new design combining cast iron and wrought iron, so two different types of iron, and the bridge was constructed to be an engineering marvel. On the night of December 28th, 1879, less than 2 weeks later, the bridge collapsed in a heavy storm as a train with 75 people on board crossed the bridge. So again, the trains don't cost as much as the bridge does, but one train, one accident, one collapse, and one train, the disaster, 75 lives. So all perished. It was the major engineering disaster of the time. So there was a famous poem written about it at the time. So when the Firth of Forth Bridge was designed a few years later, so again, this bridge that collapsed was earlier than the bridge that was designed, and it was huge and robust and iron everywhere. Steel. The designers put a lot more steel, not only to make the bridge safe, but to also make it look safe. So again, many times. So yeah. Anyways, to the public, we all know that engineers will sometimes get a design wrong, especially when they do something new. you know, yeah, that's obvious, I guess. And when they get it wrong, bad things can happen. But here is a good lesson from Victorian engineers. If it fails, fall back off and become more conservatives. If it fails. I kind of like it as a quote. I'll just keep it like that. My markdown skills are terrible. Like, I feel like I've just forgotten every single command, every single, I wasn't amazing ever, but still, I knew how to do basic things to make my notes look a little better than this, but it's okay. I will keep learning. It'll get better. The computer industry has largely forgotten this lesson. When we have very serious security failures in our computer systems, and we have them all too frequently, it is very easy to just plod along, accepting it as if it were fate. We rarely go back to the drawing board and design something more conservative. We just keep throwing a few patches out and hoping this will solve the problem. By now, it will be quite clear that to you that we will choose security over efficiency anytime. How much CPU time are we willing to spend on security? Almost all of it. We wouldn't care if 90% of our CPU cycles were spent on a reliable security system if the alternative was a faster but insecure system. The lack of computer security is a real hindrance to us and to most users. The lack of computer security is actually serious. That is why people still have to send pieces of paper around with signatures, and why they have to worry about viruses and other attacks on our computers. Digital crooks of the future will know much more and be better equipped, and so computer security will become a larger and larger problem. Digital crooks of the future. I like using their like terminology too from the book. We'll have more resources and I think it'd be like what the problem is. Okay. Keep it super simple in the notes, to be honest. We are still only seeing the beginnings of the digital crime wave. I mean, I think when this book was written, I don't think we were ever seeing $100 million hacks or anything like that. So, blockchain's only one type of digital crime, but I think it's an interesting area because usually you're seeing specifically a lot of areas where you're seeing the ability to either social engineer people or attack smart contracts that are open, or there's a lot more of it in the open where you can actually research and analyze how it happened after the fact, where in the private space I feel as though it's hard to actually analyze what happened all the time because you're waiting for like a postmortem from the company all the time, and you don't really get the open system to kind of look into. Oh, 1 second. What is going on? Oh, okay. One of my meetings just got rescheduled, so I've got to reschedule my other meeting. Okay. I can reschedule. So I'm going to reschedule for, how about next week, Monday? Today was getting kind of crazy anyway. So next week, Monday. I don't even know when I'm free next week, Monday. I gotta check. It's a long time from now. Okay. That actually makes a lot of sense. Oh, I can't do it that. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'm just updating it and saying sorry for any inconveniences and everything like that. Okay. So back to this. I'm taking quite a bit of time. Monday is good. And this new event today is good. Oh yeah, lots to do today. Sorry. I'm gonna get back to what I'm doing now. Oh gosh. Okay. We need to secure our computers better. We're right here at the top. Sorry. There are, of course, many ways of achieving security, but as Bruce extensively documented in Secrets and Lies, good security is always a mixture of prevention, detection, and response. I mean, I feel like it's obvious every note is from this book, so. Still gonna put that so people know it's coming straight from good security. I mean, most things are coming straight from the text, to be fair. Always a mixture of prevention, detection, and response. I'll try and get the link for the paper hopefully later. Maybe I'll try and yeah, no, I'm just gonna put that there for now. Oh gosh. The role of for cryptography is primarily in the prevention part. Okay, so it's the lock, right? You're preventing someone access to get in somewhere or read something or access something, like a message, for example, which has to be very good to ensure that the detection and response parts, which can and should include manual intervention, are not overwhelmed. Cryptography can, however, be used to provide more secure detection mechanisms, such as strong cryptographic audit logs. Cryptography is what this book is about, so we'll concentrate on that aspect. Yes, we know 90% still sounds like a lot, but there is some consolation. Remember first that we are willing to spend 90% of our CPU on security if the alternative is an insecure system. Fortunately, in many cases, the cost of security can be hidden from the user. I guess that's it. We are willing to spend up to 90% of CPU on security, but that's good enough. around here. I lose my place constantly when I can't highlight in this text. We could only type around 10 characters per second on a good day, and even then, slow machines of a decade ago had no trouble keeping up with that. Today's machines are over 1,000 times faster. If we use 90% of the CPU for security, the computer will appear 1/10 as fast. That is about the speed that computers were 5 years ago, and those computers were more than fast enough for us to get our work done. We may not always have to spend so many cycles on security, but we're willing to, and that's the point. There are only a few situations of which we have to wait on the computer. These include waiting for web pages, printing data, starting certain programs, booting the machine, etc. So I think that's like the important part of this. Links with something else. A good security system would not slow down any of those activities. Modern computers are so fast that it is hard to figure out how to use the cycles in a useful manner. Sure, we can use alpha blending, on-screen images, 3D animations, or even voice recognition. But the number crunching parts of these applications do not perform any security-related actions, so they would not be slowed down by a security system. It is the rest of the system, which is already as fast as it can possibly get on a human timescale, that will have the overhead. And we don't care if it goes at 1/10 the speed if it increases security. Most of the time, you wouldn't even notice the overhead. Even in situations where the overhead will be significant, that is the cost of doing it. So that's kind of the fun part, where it's like, even if there is overhead, that's the cost of doing business. So, trying to figure out how to get a good note. I feel like the top notes kind of encompass a lot of that in like a general sense. I think the idea is that on a human time scale you wouldn't notice. I think the ending is kind of funny. It's like, that's not the best way of wording it, but good enough for now. I just really love the way the book words so many things. I just like try to get the topics down for later, because I forget things so quickly. So I just need a way to be able to like run back through like my notes and remember what was talked about in the book in some way. It will be clear by now that our priorities are security first, second, and third, and performance is somewhere way down the list. I should be practicing my like latex, whatever. But of course, we still want the system to be as efficient as possible, but not at the expense of security. We understand that this design philosophy is not always possible in the real world. Often the realities of the marketplace trump the need for security. Systems can rarely be developed from scratch and often need to be secured incrementally or after deployment. Systems need to be backwards compatible with existing insecure systems. The three of us have designed many security systems under these constraints, and we can tell you that it's practically impossible to build a good security system that way. The design philosophy of this book is security first and security foremost. It's one we'd like to see adopted more in commercial systems. So I guess the idea is like trying to get the more academic side of things into the more commercial side of things, which, yeah, I'm down with. Let's see how that mesh goes when we actually start trying to do things. That's not what's going to work. And that's my problem with like learning programming languages, learning Markdown, and learning all these code is I just forget them if I don't use them every day. Like learning all of it is relatively straightforward, but I really have to use it every day, or else I don't have a brain. A lot of people are like that, I know, but complexity is the worst. I like that. And it almost always comes in the form of features or options. Here's the basic argument. Imagine a computer program with 20 different options, each of which can be either on or off. That is more than a million different configurations. So, a computer program with 20 different, binary options. That's more than a million configurations. In case I'm just talking shit off my butt. Anyways, to get the program to work, you only need to test the most common combination of options. But to make the program secure, you must evaluate each of the million possible configurations that the program can have. So, to get the program to work, test all. Wait, no, sorry. Test. Most common combinations to make program secure. To make program secure, must evaluate each of the million possible I don't like how it doesn't use configuration in all three aspects, so I'm just going to write okay. Yeah, but you gotta check each of the million possible configurations that the program can have and check that each configuration is secure against every possible form of attack. This is impossible to do, and most programs have considerably more than 20 options. The best way to have confidence in building something secure is to keep it simple. A simple system is not necessarily a small system. You can build large systems that are still fairly simple. Complexity is a measure of how many things interact at any one point. In the effect of an option, if the effect of an option is limited to a small part of the program, then it cannot interact with an option whose effect is limited to another part of the program. To make a large, simple system, you have to provide a very clear and simple interface between different parts of the system. Programmers call this modularization. And so for making refactoring your code, or modularizing it to, creating mods in Rust, so as I'm learning Rust now, I'm like learning the difficulties of modularization, but it actually makes everything simpler at the end of the day, because every small little piece is one small little thing, and if you organize your code well and know how to build things properly, then in the end of the day, it seems like it would be simpler, but a lot of moving parts. This is all basic software engineering. Yeah. A good simple interface isolates the rest of the system from the details of a module, and that should include any options or features of the module. One of the things we have tried to do in this book is define simple interfaces for cryptographic primitives. No features, no options, no special cases, no extra things to remember. Just the simplest definition we can come up with. Some of these definitions are new. We developed them while writing the book. They have helped us shape our thinking about good security systems, and we hope they help you too. So I feel like I did not take down the proper note there. Yeah, I like this one. To make a large, simple system, it's a pretty clear definition. You have to create. Oh my gosh. You have to create. Different parts of the system. And I also want to get just to the top how it was talking about, just like, complexity measure of how many things interact at any point. And then if the effect of an option is limited to a small part of the program, a simple system is not safe. Yeah, that's good enough. Oh gosh, okay. We're at the end. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. I like just having something written about every part of the text, just so that I know that I actually read it, I got through it, there's something written on it. I don't have to wonder, did I actually read? I literally forget everything. And so, literally, this is all just for me to remember what I've gone through in the text. So, one of the other biggest problems for security is that the full system continues to evolve even after the underlying security mechanisms are put in place. This means that the designer of the security mechanism needs not only to exhibit professional paranoia and consider a wide range of attackers and attack goals, but also to anticipate and prepare for future uses of the system. This can also create enormous challenges and is an issue that system designers need to keep in mind. So this one I think is always really interesting in general, how like when you create a cryptographic system, just the idea, for example, that many cryptographic systems only used to use like 64 bits of security, and now everyone's like, oh yeah, 64 bits isn't enough. You have to use 128 bits. That should be good for the next 30, 50 years. But it's like, okay, then you have like quantum computing, and then it's like, okay, how much bits of, none of the bits are useful. I don't know. It's all just like, but either way, you're trying to build a system that's going to be useful forever and stand the test of time. So one of largest issues is that I don't like saying we. The system needs to evolve after the security. Sure, good enough for now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if there's enough to write down here, but designers need to consider a wide range of attackers and attack goals. Also anticipating okay. I guess I don't need both these open anymore either. I could just keep one of them open. Oh gosh, then maybe I'd see these spelling mistakes better. One of the large okay. Good enough for that. Then it goes into further reading. So I do have a spot at the top of this article where I did want to like write down some further reading. I probably won't for now. There are some exercises here as well. A lot of the exercises are pretty great. Like, just I think reading through them is pretty cool. I will not be reading through them. Like, for example, I read examples of them. So like, let's go through the. They're pretty general. I think the exercises were better. Yeah, the general ones were a bit like. The security ones are more just like, general, like, having a security mindset, which is great. The actual exercises were pretty good so far in the text. So, for example, create an attack tree for stealing a car. For this and the other attack tree exercises, you can present your attack tree as a figure, or you can present your attack tree like a numbered outline, form. So like, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. Sounds very stressful to me. I need things to be visual for stuff like that, personally. So, create an attack tree for getting into a gym without paying. So, for example, are you trying to steal someone's membership as like your starting point and get in with like an invalid membership? Are you trying to actually, like, you know, hack the system and have it look like you paid? Are you trying to, you know, do a more long-term thing where, like, you befriend one of the workers and have them let you in, which seems less malicious, but still you didn't pay. So lots of different kind of attacks, you know, to get something done. And then you can kind of like branch it out. And the attack tree was, actually I have it in the notes too, so I don't have to go all crazy. Oh, I do have to show it. So the attack tree is in the notes. So for example, entering a bank vault, you're trying to enter the vault. So you're trying to enter the gym, for example. And there's multiple ways of doing it. You know, going, you know, having, you know, interacting with an employee, you know, hacking the system of the actual gym, and like how would you do that? Or, you know, through the system. You know, you could try to go without paying. You could, you know, go through the through the door, back door, sneak in. And then you'd break into like how. To me, it's a bit weird. You start with like what you're trying to do. You solve the problem, right? You just solve it. We're in the vault. Okay, how'd you get in? Okay, these are all the ways you got in. And then, okay, how'd you do that? And I think it's trying to help you think through an attacker's mindset of like, oh shoot, we forgot about that because somehow someone got into this place without doing it. So again, forgetting food from restaurant without paying. Again, you assume the person already has the food without paying, whether they are already dined and dashed or they kind of, whatever they did, they got, you know, food without paying. And then you're trying to say, okay, they dined and dashed. How they dined and dashed? They, you know, they brought a date and someone said they're going to the bathroom and then whatever else happened, right? And then if they didn't dine and dash, they got free food because they used a stolen credit card. You know, so incorrect payment maybe, or like a chargeback of some kind. There could be like long-term types, or, you know, fraudulent. Maybe fraudulent payment is a whole title. Like, what type of fraudulent payment can they do? So there's lots of different types of fraudulent payment. You know, different types like fake money, or, you know, a fake, you know, chargeback. Again, like saying that, oh, the food was, you know, not delivered correctly or whatever, right? You could just say the food was bad, so you're not going to pay for it, right? Say it's your birthday, a lie. Create an attack tree for learning someone's online banking username and password. Again, looking over their shoulder, breaking into their house, you know, putting some kind of, you know, malicious, you know, file on their computer. Create an attack tree for reading someone else's email, you know, similar type of things. These are all attack trees, you know, for the, you know, 1 to 8, so I won't go through all of them. Find a new, you know, people should read the book, I guess. It's a pretty good book. Find a new product or system that was announced or released within the last 3 months. Conduct a security review of the system, and pick one of the assets you described, like an attack tree. I didn't do that, but sounds like fun. Provide a concrete example, select from media reports, okay, and then like provide. So I will do some of the exercises in my notes. These ones specifically, though, for chapter 1 were quite like just general and intro. So I will get this going. Remember, that was intro to the book, so it was very, you know, low key, but cryptography. I'll get just the title. This chapter introduces basic cryptography concepts and provides background info. Whatever. Okay. I'm not going to go through the rest of this today. I'm just going to make sure I have like the frame up. Perfect. And I do have to go anyway, so it is wonderful timing. Thanks all, and toodaloo.